There's this hidden engine that powers your local pharmacy, a system that's so efficient, it honestly feels like magic. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and explore that engine by looking at one specific company, Smith Drug. I mean, think about it. Have you ever really stopped to wonder how that works? You walk in, you hand over a prescription, and moments later, bam, the exact medication you need is ready to go. It feels like magic, right? But it's not. It's actually this incredible masterpiece of logistics. And honestly, it's the very thing that keeps thousands of small local pharmacies in business. So what's the secret sauce here? Well, it's something called a pharmaceutical wholesaler. And you can totally think of them as the pharmacy's ultimate personal shopper. They don't actually make the drugs, and they're not the ones selling them to you, but they do all the crucial work in between. I'm talking about getting those meds from hundreds of different manufacturers all the way to that one single shelf in your neighborhood pharmacy. All right, so let's dive in and meet our main example for this whole thing. We're going to be looking at Smith Drug Company. Now, that's a name you've probably never heard, but believe me, they've been a regional powerhouse for almost 100 years. So get this, the company was founded way back in 1944, down in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And here's what's so interesting. Smith Drug made a conscious choice not to become some massive national giant. Instead, they dug in deep and became a true regional specialist, focusing all their energy and expertise on the Southeastern United States. And their impact? Oh, it's huge. We're talking over 1,000 locations served across more than 18 states. And listen, these aren't your giant big box chain stores. Nope. We're talking about the independent community pharmacies, the local long-term care centers, the small businesses that are really the backbone of so many of our towns. Okay, but here's where it gets even more interesting. Smith Drug does way more than just deliver pills. They're what's known in the industry as a full-line distributor. And understanding what that term means, well, that's absolutely crucial to seeing where the real value comes from. So full line, what does that actually mean? Well, think about it like this. We're talking about tens of thousands of different products. Yeah, of course, you've got your standard pharmaceuticals, the branded and generic drugs. But they also supply all the over-the-counter stuff, aspirin, Band-Aids, even gifts and home medical equipment. Now, if you're a small pharmacy owner, this is an absolute game changer. Suddenly, you can get everything from one place. Smith becomes your one-stop shop for pretty much anything you need, all the way down to the nitty-gritty stuff like IT and compliance support. So this all brings up a really fascinating question, right? In an industry that's totally dominated by these massive giants, how does a regional company like Smith Drug not just survive, but actually thrive? What's their secret? What's their competitive edge? It really all comes down to one word: focus. They're not trying to be everything to everyone. By specializing in those independent and long-term care pharmacies, they can tailor their services to be a perfect fit. And their logistics? Super smart. They've got distribution centers in South Carolina, Georgia, and Arkansas, which creates this incredibly efficient network just for the Southeast. That means fast, reliable delivery. So you add that full-line service we just talked about to the mix, and what you get is a recipe for building really deep, really trusting relationships with our customers. But, and there's always a but, right? That laser-sharp focus also creates some pretty big challenges. It's that classic business dilemma, the specialist going up against the giant. For Smith Drug, their regional strength is totally one side of the coin. But on the other side, well, there are some pretty significant hurdles to overcome. And that trade-off, it's really stark when you look at it. A national giant, think someone like McKesson or Cardinal Health, they have massive bargaining power with the drug manufacturers, and that can mean better prices. Smith Drug, on the other hand, offers that personal, tailored service that a huge corporation just can't really match. But see, their regional logistics network, their greatest strength inside the Southeast, it becomes a weakness the second you step outside of it. It leads to higher costs, slower delivery. It's just a constant, tricky balancing act. And the pressure doesn't stop there, not by a long shot. Like any modern distributor, their entire operation is completely dependent on complex IT systems. I mean, any downtime could be absolutely catastrophic. Plus, and this is a big one, they handle controlled substances. So that means they're operating under this intense regulatory microscope. The stakes for getting compliance right are just incredibly high. So when you look at the market, it really is this dramatic. You have these towering giants of the industry, the McKessons and the Cardinals. And then way down here, you have the specialized regional players like Smith Drug. It's a true David versus Goliath situation, The The smaller companies have to compete on service and focus because they just can't compete on pure size. And all of this leaves us with one final and I think really crucial question. In a world, in an economy that so often rewards just being bigger, what is the future for a company like Smith Drug? Can those deep relationships and that specialized service truly hold their own against the raw power of global giants? It's a question that, honestly, applies not just to this one industry, but to all the small, specialized businesses in all of our own communities. Something to think about, for sure.